Chicago, did you miss me? You've been so alive with hope and history. But I know survival can feel like a daily fight. Because Black lives are sacred, and so are Black men. I see the struggles Black men carry here. And this matters to me because you matter to me. And your stories deserve to be heard. In your own words.
Well, my name is Timothy Clemons. I'm 36. Woo, that's a lot. I originally grew up in Dalton, Illinois. Right now, I'm a dad. I got 2 beautiful children at home, a lovely fiance. I was raised in a single mother home, pretty much. My dad was there, but he was in and out of my life. But he's present now, so that's all that matters. So I'm a man of God. I try my best to walk this walk of faith. And I'm not perfect, far from it. But I am a testament to God's glories. But when I was growing up, it was all about, it was a village. You can almost walk in any house, get a drink of water, or go in somebody's fridge. Back in the day, it was beautiful, man. We all had the penny store lady with the candy and everything like that. So it was beautiful, man. I wish our kids got what we got, but they're not gonna get it. So, it was free. Everybody on the block, the girls were jumping rope, double dutching. Everybody's playing basketball, in the middle of the street. So I had a beautiful childhood, man. My mom did the best she could. It was beautiful. I can't complain about my childhood at all.
What was one memorable moment?
Getting hit by a car when I was 9. We used to ride bikes everywhere, so I was somewhere I wasn't supposed to be. I was on Sibley, coming back from the bike shop with my homies, and I don't know if y'all are familiar with Sibley. If you're from Dalton, you do. KFC is on a cross street, and the drive-through for it is behind it almost. So we were cutting through behind KFC, and a car was coming off Sibley, and he just turned, he didn't see me, and boom, he hit me pretty good. So I ended up passing out, and I woke up. Everybody was around me, but that's probably the most most memorable thing I remember when I was a kid, though. Yeah, that was tragedy at the same time.
It's tragedy, but a real childhood experience.
Yeah, it was, because I was somewhere I wasn't supposed to be. So that's usually how it happens,
Well, Tim, you are personally connected with one of our topics today around grief and loss.
Yeah, that's major.
And I would love to know what's connected you to that topic.
If I had to say, we've all lost and experienced things of loss. But 4 years ago, my brother passed away drinking and driving. So since then, that's been real tough. It's coming up on 4 years, and it's just a process. It takes time. So I have been dealing with that, and just trying to figure out. I didn't know grief was such a process. It just really takes time. It's a constant thing I'm learning how to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's coming up 4 years. His birthday is actually Saturday, so all the families get together. So that's gonna be a beautiful thing. But it's definitely hard.
Yeah.
So when you talked about just grief and just loss, when I was coming up, nobody taught you how to process your trauma. It's like becoming a man, you just always taught to always just be strong. Not to really process your feelings. So I'm sorry, man, but
it's okay.
Now that I got where I'm at now, it's just like I'm figuring out like it's a true process on trying to grieve, and it's a constant, between me and God, and just trying to be a better man. Because when I first lost my brother, I wanted to shut down. But I had a son. Imagine, I never even wanted kids. But God knew what I needed. So, just trying to figure that out, man. Navigating through grief it's tremendous. It's an unbearable burden, Every day you got like, you're okay. You got to try to figure it out. And I have been. And my brother he was everything to me, My oldest brother taught me everything, and it's just the process. It's just, sometimes it's unbearable. But you got people counting on you, so you got to keep going. It's like, how do I keep going and heal at the same time, but just going to God, And for a long time, I was mad at God, like why my brother, But everybody's dealing with something, so I just try to be cool, but it's hard, it's real hard, so it's hard to carry around a weight that you want to get rid of, And I don't want to forget my brother, but sometimes you have to go in survival mode and not think about things just so you can keep going, So people always ask me, like, Tim, you don't never do nothing. I was like, I don't really have it in me, bro, So I just try to be with my kids. Those are my confidence, my kids. 2 beautiful boys.
Wow.
But, it's tough. It is.
When you talk about how unbearable it feels, if you could put words to that, what does it feel like inside that weight that you feel like you're carrying from that loss?
It feels like suffocation. It's like, you ever been like underwater and you trying to breathe? It's like that. Like you just waiting to get that breath in you again, That's what it feels like, So it's like I'm walking around with that, There's nothing against nobody else. So what they could do to me is just me dealing with this within myself, It's not, when I first lost my brother, I thought I had to figure out how to be the old me so I can get back to who I was, not knowing I had to be a new person, and I put my woman through some things I shouldn't have, and it was just, I almost lost my family, trying to be the old me, not knowing I got to be a new Tim, That's where the challenge came in at, was trying to navigate through all of that burden, because I don't remember anybody talking to us about trauma, or real pain of losing somebody when we was young. I mean, we all dealt with death then, like, older people, but that was expected. But sudden death is just it's so hard to process in the moment, It's like, it literally takes your breath away, like, oh my God, So it's just hard, man,
I would love to hear more about your brother.
My brother was a bully.
Tell him.
He was a bully. He was definitely a bully. But I used to call him an aggressive teddy bear. That's what I always tell everybody. My brother loved so hard. He didn't always express it the right way. But most men, we grow up with tough love. But his intentions were always good. And that's what I took away from my brother the most. I don't always say it the right way, but my intentions are always good. I'm never trying to talk down to you or hurt you, but I want what's best for you. And sometimes if I feel like you're not listening to me, I beat you. Excuse me. He used to beat it in you sometimes, Like I used to tell my homies, like, bro, I love you enough to work you, G, if I got to, bro. That's how much I love you, bro. Like, you out here wilding, you not listening. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I took away from my brother. The most was just that fight, that I didn't know I needed to have in me to be able to navigate through life. Coming up and not saying dog was bad, but just coming up in our generation, we were still able to throw hands a little bit, So if I didn't know how to fight, I probably would have had, not saying I know how to fight, but if I didn't know how to handle myself, I don't want to act like I know how to fight, but if I didn't know how to handle myself, I probably would have been in a lot of uncomfortable situations, you know what I mean? But my brother supplied me with what I needed, you know what I mean, to be able to navigate through those situations that did come into my life. He also taught me how to be gentle, you know what I mean? Hard worker, you know what I'm saying? I always provided for his family, did everything he could in his power. Just didn't, like all of us just didn't know how to handle the stress of life sometimes, And I think we all forget that everybody's going through something in their lives, So he was dealing with something. Unfortunately, it ended up being one of his last nights on earth. I talked to him the night before he died and everything. And my son was born in 2020, and it was the whole COVID thing. So my brother, we was trying to be real cautious. So my brother, he never got to really meet my son. That kind of really messed me up, My lady was just trying to be safeguard my son, which I'm not mad at her about. At the time, I was upset at first, because the night before he died, he called me on my way to work. He was on FaceTime with my lady and my son, and he's at my mom's house. So he had me on one phone, him on the other phone, and she was like, "Yeah, he gonna come over tomorrow. You gonna meet him and everything, COVID's kind of dying down." We was like, "Bet, cool." It was around this time of the year. He died December 13th. His birthday's the 21st, so it was around this time of the year. I'm like, "Bet, I'll see you tomorrow in the morning. We'll work it out, And then I got the call that morning, like, "Yeah, Tim, your brother didn't come home last night." I'm like, "He didn't come home." I'm like, "All right." Like, he was out drinking with your brother and your cousin. And I'm like, "All right." I'm like, they say he was driving crazy. I'm like, "Oh, that's what Reggie do." We all get a little drunk and, test the limits with God, And he ended up not coming home that night. So I'm thinking, like, she said he was driving crazy. The police came to the house. I'm like, the police came to the house? I'm like, all right. Well, my mom was like, well, she wasn't there when they came, but they came to the house. So she got back home and they came back to the house. And everybody was like, okay. I'm like, well, they said he's been in an accident, go to this hospital. So I'm the first one to the hospital. My mom's still at home. I guess it kind of happened at the same time. Like, she found out when I found out, So I got to the hospital and the moment I got in the hospital, I knew something was wrong. I'm like, this don't feel right, you know? So when I got in, the doctor was like, oh, Tim, we want you to come into this room. We're gonna, he'll be a doctor, be you. You go sit in this room. When he told me to go sit in the room, like I knew what happened. Like he not here no more. So I got in the room and I was still by myself. He was like, Tim, you wanna wait for your family to get here so we could talk about? I said, no. I said, you can go ahead and tell me. And I was standing up at the time, and he told me like, yeah, your brother was involved in an accident, and he was ejected from the car. He said, only thing I can tell you, Tim, is that he didn't suffer. He died pretty quick. So I guess that's doctor's thing. Like they don't want you to feel like he suffered. Ever since then, it's just kind of been hard trying to navigate, you know, be there for the family, you know. I'm not the only one dealing with this. His kids, he has what, 2 girls and a boy. So just trying to be there for them and be there for my kids. You know, life is just a lot, you know, so,
Yeah.
But it's a lot.
You mentioned around that time the weight being so much that your actions panned from who you used to be, almost lost your family.
Correct.
When you think about obviously the driving force behind the action, but what was the mindset? Like,
Well, I want to speak for myself. When you get put into a situation, that completely shakes your world upside down. You're trying to figure out how to get back to being you, right? You know, everybody's like, you gotta get back to just being you, Tim. You know what I mean? It's like, I did what was familiar to me, which is going out, you know what I'm saying, being around women I need to be around, doing stupid shit, you know what I mean? That's what the old Tim used to do. But now, Tim, I got a whole family I gotta look after. So I can't go be around women or go and take stupid trips with my friends and go do stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? I gotta be smarter, you know. So, and thank God for my woman. You know, it wasn't until she challenged me to be a better man. Some women, well, most women will let you do stuff to them and they'll tolerate it. You know, but my girl was like, no, like she set a standard. If you're not gonna be this, you can't be here. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna lose your family. You know, and it's like once she made me once she challenged me, I was like, damn, like I gotta be better. You know, you go through life like, well, I ain't that bad of a guy. No, just because you're not that bad of a guy don't mean you can't be better. Cause I had tremendous anger issues even before my brother died. I had anger issues. And it's like my anger started to overtake me sometimes. It had became too much, but she challenged me, and once she challenged me, I didn't want to lose my family. So at that point, it's like, Tim, what you gonna do? So at that point, I had to become a new me. You know what I mean? Not saying I don't get angry now, but it's a tremendous difference. My patience now is just everything to me, you know? So it takes a lot for me to get out of character. And I was telling my friend the other day, I said, it's not that I don't still have this anger in me. Like, I feel like that guy's like, I feel like he's inside of me, but he's in a straitjacket right now. It's kind of like the Hawk is sometimes. It's like, I don't even want to let him out. You know what I mean? I'm trying my best to get rid of that guy, but you know, some things you just don't necessarily get rid of. You kind of like harbor them a little bit. I don't want to say I'm harboring him, but I'm trying to figure out a way to defeat him, and I haven't figured that out just yet. So I can figure out a way to defeat him, he got to stay in that straitjacket, locked in that room with all those doors on it. Because if I let that guy out, it's gonna be bad.
if you were to think about what could help or support kind of opening that straitjacket one at a time.
Ooh, those are layers. I think this. Honestly, I think this. I haven't really. I mean, I went to therapy with my brother dad, but I haven't really had some people I could sit around in the conversation and open up to. You know, really talk about it. You know, and peel back those layers. Had these type of conversations with my peers. They put you in a room with a doctor and expect you to tell this person everything and them to be able to relate to you. But it's kind of hard with someone who isn't in your generation or even, you know, a man or a black man, you know what I'm saying, to help you with something that you're dealing with. So I think for me, people who I can mostly relate to in situations kind of help me. That's always been my you know, it helps me unwind. Whenever I felt like I was overwhelmed in life, I would go be around my peers. You know, that'd make me feel better. You know, that was my recharge. You know, that's my reset. But you know, but I don't get to do that as much now because one, I don't want to, and two, I'm always tired. I'm at work. So you know, it's the balance of that though. But I would love to, absolutely. Yeah, I would. Yeah.
So if you were to kind of just take away one moment from you and your brother that was like, I'll never forget this.
It'd probably be our last fight. Last fight we was throwing hands. Imagine my brother's 350 pounds, so he was arguing one day with my mom, and you know, they going back and forth, and you know, I was just like, bro, you can't keep arguing with moms, bro. So he didn't listen, so I popped him, and it wasn't to put him down, it was just to get him out the house so he could leave her alone. So I popped him, and then we get outside, and it's all hell there, it's Armageddon there. So it had got to the point where I kind of enjoyed fighting a little bit. The last fight we had was pretty good. It was pretty good. I'll just leave it at that. I said we both left a black eye. My cousin always tell me my brother won, but I said, She biased though, so, but he know what happened. But that was a coming into me moment. Like I knew like I didn't want to fight my brother anymore after this. You know, like I didn't want to hurt him, and I could tell he didn't want to hurt me. So that's why it's one of my most memorable moments, because at that point in time, like we never had to fight again after that. Like I just knew like we could argue, but we never gonna get physical again. But
What's family and the family that you're building? What does that feel like?
I've never been to heaven, but that's the only thing I can compare it to. The joys of having kids is amazing. Imagine I never even wanted kids. I never wanted kids. I was too afraid of the direction the world was going in, you know, like that got us in that straitjacket. I might have to come out and somebody touch one of my kids and rouse my sons of their innocence. My son is so innocent, they're so pure. My son speaks to everybody. He's so nice, he's so polite. So to risk that is just, it's scary. You know, anything you're scared of, you know, you want to protect, you know, so. But my kids are that's my safe haven, you know, it's no judgment there. So always happy to see me, you know, so. Except when I gotta, you know, discipline them, but other than that, you know, it's daddy's home, so, you know, but that's what I compare it to is heaven, man. My kids are everything to me. True and noble. A good woman to do that for you, though. That's why I try to tell all my friends, you know, you gotta find somebody who's gonna challenge you. I think a lot of us look for somebody to make us comfortable. I don't think you ever wanna be comfortable in your relationship. I think when you get comfortable with things, you get lackadaisical. Don't work as hard as you did to keep them, you know? So I'm never comfortable in my relationship. It's always a constant. I think growth is always a constant. So to be comfortable is a dangerous place to be. Anything you're doing in your life, you know, I never want to be comfortable. So, you know, I want to be content and I want to be stable, but I don't want to be comfortable. You know.
So what is Tim looking forward to on this journey of healing?
I'm looking forward to the experience. You know, I tell everybody I think life is about experiences. I don't like to put things into perspective until I've actually done it myself. I'm just looking forward to the process, you know, of this experience. When you called it what you called it, the healing, I'm like, God, that's what I need. You know what I mean? So I think we're at a phase of our lives right now that everybody just, there's healing that needs to be done amongst all of us. And I think a lot of us are trying to figure out what that looks like. That process could look very different for everybody. So to hear what your process of healing is, what that person is, what this person's is, and then I could take a piece of that, and put it in mine, make my own, you know, and then from there I could start my own process of healing. I think that's the biggest thing that I'm mostly excited about, you know, to hear people's stories and overcome. I love to hear other testimonies. That just gives me inspiration, you know what I mean? I want to be an inspiration. Somebody that might look like me or be like me, who deal with anger, who deal with death like we all do, you know, to be able to relate to those people and help those people, that'd be everything to me, you know, so.
We see the struggles Black men carry here. Tim, my friend, thank you for sharing yourself with us. In loving memory of Reginald T. Clemons.